Didier Drogba, the greatest player in African history. Before the opening of Cannes 2019, Sport Bible asked fans to vote on the greatest player in Africa of all time. The name Didier Drogba was number one on the list, which shows this player's greatness both on the pitch and in other fields. He helped Ivory Coast to reach the first World Cup ticket for the first time in 2006. And that achievement was created after he and his team defeated Sudan 3-1 in the African qualifying region on October 8th of 2005. Immediately after the match ended, the Ivory Coast captain invited reporters to the team's dressing room, and Drogba sincerely spoke on behalf of the team. "We have promised that this celebration will unite everybody. And today we are begging everyone. We are kneeling and begging everyone." Drogba said that he and his teammates knelt together on the floor, and he continued, "Forgive. Forgive and forgive. Such a rich country cannot be ravaged by war. Get off of your weapons, hold elections, and everything will be good." Drogba's speech came in the context of the Ivory Coast being ravaged by civil war. Their first civil war began in 2002 and escalated the following year. By the time of that match between the Ivory Coast and Sudan, CNN estimated that there were more than 4,000 people killed and more than 1 million homeless because of the war. Drogba's speech came in the context of the whole country celebrating the historic victory in their first World Cup, which has a great impact on the whole nation of the Ivory Coast. Drogba's message of sincerity has touched the hearts of everyone in the Ivory Coast, from civilians to soldiers on two rival sides in this African nation. Approximately 1.9 meters high and weighing 90 kilograms with a big body, there is no other nickname that suits Drogba more than the nickname Forest Elephant. Drogba scares everyone when it comes to his extraordinary physique and indomitable temperament. But if you overlook Drogba's appearance, you can still see his strong desire. Drogba launched in the Ivory Coast team in 2002, the same year his homeland had a civil war between two sides, the Islamic rebel side of the north and the Christian government which occupied the south. In 2004, the Ivory Coast team was making an effort to make their first appearance in World Cup with a group of talented players playing in Europe like Drogba, Kolo Touré, and Ibui, and they made it. Moreover, this achievement has a great impact on the context of this country. Afterward, Drogba interfered directly in the political situation of the country. He brought football from the capital of Abidjan, the familiar place for international football matches, to the other side of the country, in the north, by his influence. Drogba successfully persuaded the Ivory Coast Football Federation to leave the location of the 2008 Cannes qualifying match against Madagascar. If they win, Ivory Coast will move straight into first place and have a ticket to Cannes. With the importance of the match and the efforts of getting more love from the north, Drogba hoped to change the face of the country when the national team played for the first time in the north. This match was not only the decisive match for the Cannes ticket, but also had an important meaning to the political situation of the country. Even the northern government has contributed to building a corner of the stage for that match. Football itself has accomplished this task, not any politician. Finally, the election took place after a 5-year delay, and Drogba's efforts paid off. The situation in the Ivory Coast has been much better since then. Drogba owned a massive collection of 7 national championship titles, 7 national cups, and 1 Champion League. The greatest achievement of Drogba's life is to return football to its sacred mission of healing and connecting people. Drogba proudly shared, "My life has won a lot of noble titles, but nothing compared to the victory in the war to win peace for my country." Back to Drogba's career as a player, Mourinho was amazed the first time he saw Drogba play. The giant wearing the number 11 shirt scored and caused the entire field to explode. Of course, Mourinho also loved Drogba from the first time that they met. So during the halftime break, he unexpectedly approached Drogba and joked, "Do you have brothers? Introduce me to buy because you're too expensive." And Drogba replied, "Someday you will come to a club big enough to buy me." This conversation was enough to exude the extraordinary temperament of both characters, soon to stir up the football world. That day, Mourinho was leading Porto and Drogba was wearing a Marseille shirt. After that fateful meeting, Mourinho took Porto to the Champions League and went to Chelsea later. Meanwhile, Drogba's goals against Porto and Real Madrid were not enough to help Marseille win a ticket to the next round. Marseille must then play in the UEFA Cup and lost to Valencia in the final. Drogba, of course, still led the team's attack with his goals. And at the end of the season, Drogba scored 32 goals in 55 appearances for Marseille on all competitions, an impressive achievement. And then, Drogba moved to Chelsea, Abramovich's rich team, for £24 million. Many people were skeptical about the success of Drogba at Chelsea. Well, then he went into Chelsea's history as one of the greatest goal scorers with 164 goals in 381 appearances in all competitions, 10 major and minor titles, and 10 goals in the finals. The most memorable one was the header into the net of Manuel Neuer in the Champions League 2011-2012 final. What Drogba has done is so great. It goes beyond any club or tournament, and it has the power to motivate African players looking to succeed in Europe. For Chelsea, Drogba is a century contract, a super striker, and a player who changes Chelsea's history. Drogba has become an integral part of Chelsea's history and the Premier League Football League. Drogba is a super striker with a strong playing style and amazing finishes. One who always plays with high quality and vast wisdom. One who lives and fights for football, for ideal, and for peace. Thank you, legendary Didier Drogba.
I'm going mainstream. Yeah, I'm going mainstream. Flow like water, so I'm going mainstream.